Years ago, right after I graduated from high school, I did a lot of couch surfing and was staying with my friend Mike for a while. His family lived about 30 miles north of the town I worked in, and his mother usually brought me down to town with her when she went to work in the morning. Mike and I would often stay late in town to hang out with friends, so we'd have to bum rides or hitchhike back if we wanted to sleep at the house. So one Friday, he and I stuck around in town too long and missed our ride back. We were young and brave little tough guys, so we didn't think much of hitching back. We hung around the interstate exit with our thumbs out and scored a ride with two really cool and obliging Jamaican Rastafarian dudes in an old Volvo. They ran us most of the way up the highway and dropped us off at a town about 5 miles from where we were headed. Everything was going well. We were happy we had made such great time getting this far. We walked up through the town, stopped for drinks and headed out the north end to start hitching again. We get picked up pretty quickly by a guy in his 40s, friendly, with Kenny G hair. He tells us he's headed right past the road we were heading for. We couldn't believe our luck. I jump in the front, Mike gets in the back. It's a big old boat of a car. As we come up on the turn, dude puts his hand on my leg. I'm like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I push his hand off and tell him we'll get out here. It's starting to get dark. I'll walk in the fucking dark. Guy says, it's cool, I'll drive you where you're headed. You don't have to get out here, and puts his hand back on my leg. And keeps driving. I'm like, pull the fuck over now, and reach for my pocket knife. Mike, in the back seat, grabs this guy in a headlock, choking the shit out of him. Guy lets go of my leg and starts yanking on Mike's arm, trying to get free. Both hands are off the wheel and the car is swerving all over the road. We're still going at least 40 and I'm terrified we're going to crash. This big tree comes up in front of us, but the driver must have seen it, 'cause he slams on the brakes at the last second, Mike still trying to pop his head off. I thump off the dashboard and realize we're going slow enough to bail out. I yell, jump, to Mike, shove the door open, dive out onto the pavement. The driver realizes I'm getting away and he hits the gas. The door springs back and almost catches my feet. The back wheel misses me by an inch and the car is going 50 again. Mike is rolling in the middle of the road and I realize we've both gotten out of the car. I grab him and drag him off the road into the trees. The car is doing a U-turn in the middle of the road about 100 yards away and is coming back toward us. We eat mud and dirt while we hide as low as we can make ourselves. Both of us are skinned, banged up and bleeding from the pavement. This psycho drives past real slow to try to spot us. Turns around and comes back again. Every time he gets out of sight, we jump up and run through the woods headed toward Mike's parents' house, still several miles away. Every time we hear a car coming, we drop and hide. This car must have gone up and down the road a dozen times or more looking for us. It took nearly 2 more hours to make it a couple miles in the woods, in the dark. We finally get to the house, dirty, bloody, exhausted. Mike's parents go nuts when they see us. Mike's dad is a scary guy. He's huge, about 6 feet 6 inches and construction worker strong. He's got a beard down his chest and his hobby is pounding Budweiser with his friends until they're drunk enough to knock each other out. So naturally, instead of calling the police, he marches us down the driveway and makes us stand by the road as bait for this driver to come back, while he hides in the woods. We stood out there for another 2 hours. The guy didn't come back, which I have mixed feelings about. Mike's dad probably would have beaten the guy to death if he'd caught him, which is that guy's problem, but I was afraid the guy had a gun or something. After all, how was he planning to kidnap 2 guys at the same time? Mike's mom made us report it to the police when she woke up and heard the story in the morning. I never heard if they caught the guy. And this is why I don't hitchhike or pick up hitchhikers anymore.